Hi there, hi, good morning everyone. This is Liz Davis. I am a nutritionist and I specialise in digestive health for busy women. So I help busy women fix their IBS, bloating, reflux, painful digestion, any other kind of gut problems, any related hormone issues, and conditions such as chronic fatigue and so on. And I do this with state-of-the-art gut testing, hormone testing if we need it, any other kind of testing, and then dietary and lifestyle upgrades to gently bring things back into balance for you. So now it's always the burning question, especially at this time of year: if I have a drink, will it upset my gut? What will happen to me? Well, the jury's still out, basically. Just put it out there. The jury is still out on whether or not just, drinking a small amount of good quality wine, for example, now and again is good for you. So we're not really talking about that at the moment. What we're talking about is if you're suffering with your gut, if you're someone who already has gut problems, should you drink? Should you avoid it? What might happen? Okay, so first up then, there's always negative aspects of drinking any amount of alcohol and negative outcomes. So let's just kind of do a quick rundown of those first up. So the first thing that's going to happen if you drink any amount of alcohol, doesn't matter how small or how much, you're not going to sleep properly. So the next day you're always going to feel a bit ropey because you haven't slept quite right. And as we know, when you're tired, it does tend to affect everything else as well. So if you're tired, it can make your guts feel a bit cranky and you're just kind of a bit off colour. So that's the first thing to think of. While you're drinking alcoholic drinks, of course, you're not then drinking proper drinks. So by proper drinks, I mean hydrating drinks like water or tea or what have you. So you get a double whammy going on. So you're drinking alcoholic drinks which are dehydrating instead of drinking hydrating drinks. So this has, of course, a real knock-on effect around the body, not least in your gut, because your gut needs a lot of moisture and fluid to do what it needs to do properly and make everything flow nicely. So after a day or an evening having a couple of drinks, the following day you're unlikely to want to be doing any exercise at all because you're probably going to be very tired and dehydrated. So that's not going to help your gut either if you're not kind of inclined to do anything, particularly if you're someone who does normally exercise. The following day, your blood sugar levels are going to be all over the place. So that's just another effect that alcohol has. It doesn't matter if you only have a tiny bit, it's not going to affect your blood sugar levels well. So if your blood sugar levels are soaring all over the place, what tends to happen, you tend to end up craving very high carb foods. Your mood will be shot to pieces. You'll be going up and down like a yo-yo emotionally. And of course that has a knock-on effect on your gut as well. So your gut's not going to be happy. That gut-brain axis isn't going to be at its best at all. So with time you've got the drinks themselves, the cravings and the irregular blood sugar patterns, etc., and the lack of exercise, you're probably going to end up gaining a couple of pounds as well. But now and again probably wouldn't matter, but if you're kind of doing it all the time, that is something to bear in mind. So directly, how does alcohol affect your gut? That was kind of like a general picture, but directly, what is happening to your gut when you drink alcohol? Okay, so drinking can damage the delicate tissues in your gut, and this can affect the way you absorb nutrients. So much more so if you're someone who already has a sensitive gut. So if you've already got IBS or IBD or what have you, then your gut is already very sensitive, and adding a few drinks to the mix is probably not going to help you much. Having one too many can also increase feelings of gassiness, of bloating, and also that feeling of fullness as well. Will also aggravate reflux quite a lot of the time. So if you're someone who is refluxy, unfortunately that glass of wine is going to make things feel a bit worse. So if you're someone who is drinking heavily or frequently, You may also then want to be concerned about the development of stomach ulcers. That can be quite common. And also drinking alcohol at that level is really bad for your pancreas. It increases the rate at which the pancreatic enzymes are secreted. And, you know, worst case scenario, if you keep drinking for a long time, you can end up with pancreatitis, which is, of course, very nasty indeed. Drinking even a small amount of alcohol, even a small glass of wine particularly, that can give you diarrhea. Now, the reason for that is because when you are when you're drinking wine, it tends to speed up that peristaltic action. So you always have like a peristaltic action going on in your gut, which squeezes everything through in a timely fashion. If you've drunk anything like wine or beer, it does tend to increase that. So everything in your gut just rushes through too quickly and you end up with diarrhea probably. And also with wine, tends to knock out your good bacteria as well. But it's not the end of the world. It will come back in again, but it's just something to bear in mind. If you've already got guts that are sensitive, this is going to add to things. So at the other end of the spectrum as well, drinking can then cause constipation. So if you're someone with IBS, this is probably, it's just going to aggravate things for you. So there are groups of people who are particularly susceptible to the negative effects of alcohol, and those are people who have irregular sleeping patterns. So people, shift workers, for example, so nurses, etc. People who are new parents will, you know, they're just typically people who have their sleep disrupted. They tend to suffer the effects of alcohol worse on their gut. And you know, it's just because your gut gets more cranky, you get more cranky, your gut gets more sensitive. So if you do anything like drink alcohol, it just does make things a lot worse. So if you are a new parent or you're a nurse and you're wondering why you can't handle alcohol quite as well as everybody else, that's probably the reason for it. It's just your gut getting more sensitive because you're more sensitive. Okay, so that's just a few issues to highlight there. Do like and share if you found this useful, and do pop me a message info if you would like some more information. Okay, I'll see you next time. Bye.